Hey everyone, it's Joy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share how I added a ton of color to my cards really simply using alcohol inks. This made for quick card making, and you didn't have to be so concerned with how your alcohol ink background looked. We just wanted to get some color on there, and it turned out really, really fun. So I'm using the new collection from Bibi with Spellbinders. This is her beautiful Hummingbird collection. I can't remember the exact name, but it's stunning. Okay, so I have a full sheet of my photo paper. I'm using the back side, not the glossy side. The first color combination that I'm using is Gumball, Patina, and Limeade. And you saw that I was going to start using my blow dryer, but I thought I have so much alcohol and ink on here. I'm just gonna move this around and kind of see what kind of background I'm gonna get. And I loved how this turned out, you guys. This was really easy and fun, and I would add more color where I thought I needed it. But I did put down my alcohol. I am using 91% alcohol here, and then I have my brass pinata that I like to use. It looks very gold. But look at how pretty this is. And I'm just kind of sliding it back and forth, adding a little bit more of that patina because it kind of gets blended and you get a lot of that purple. And then once I get it where I like it, then I can use my blow dryer. But because there was so much alcohol ink on it, I didn't want to blow it around. I liked the mix that it got. So I think this is kind of a fun way to make a background. It's really smooth, and if you don't dry it with a blow dryer, you know what I mean, if you just kept moving it around, it'd be so super smooth. I just loved it. I definitely needed more green, so I added more of that limeade with the brass pinata. Then I'm going to move that around. I am just putting color on here because I want to use all my die cuts and die cut from my alcohol ink backgrounds. This is what's going to give us all of that color without having to color these images. And if you wanted to do something different than just using colored cardstock, I thought this is a fun way to go about this. What made me think this way is, you know, when you see hummingbirds, they are so colorful and so pretty when they shimmer in the light. And I thought this would be just a fantastic way. So hopefully you guys enjoy this as much as I did. And I also have a bonus little card at the end with some leftover from the backgrounds that I didn't use. Okay, my second color combination is Fiesta, Valencia, and Sunshine Yellow. This one I'm doing a little bit different. I'm just kind of adding the color everywhere. Which really kind of blends the orange and pink, but it made a beautiful color. And again, you can add more pink, more orange in different areas, so it wasn't a big deal. This one I am just going to, I didn't want it to blend like the other one because I think it's going to wash out the pink and wash out the orange. So I did a little of the blending by moving my photo paper left and right, but then I opted to bring in the blow dryer just to control a little more and get a little less blending. There's more of that Valencia orange right there at the bottom, and of course we've got that beautiful sunshine yellow, and we can get some good coloring. Then I knew that we had flowers, stems, and leaves, so now I'm going to add some colors that are separate from each other. So I have the sunshine yellow. I'm going to use the limeade, and of course I'm using the blow dryer here to make that happen. I'm keeping this simple. I don't want to mix on these. Here's that Valencia orange, and then of course the limeade yellow. So I was thinking ahead of what do I need to die cut from. I want to kind of keep in some of these colors that naturally are happening. So obviously the green stems, I want some yellow and orange flowers because I do have a lot of blues and purples and pinks for the backgrounds. So I wanted a color contrast. Okay, so we've got this big, beautiful, I can't even remember what this one is called, you guys. I do have everything listed and linked for you below. This is the, I think, yeah, this is the one I don't have a name for. That big hummingbird, I think I'm sorry. The one on the left, I'm sorry. The one on the right is the delicate floral hummingbirds. The one on the left is the one I cannot remember the name of. So I'm going to die cut those. I'm putting them on the spots of where I want that color to be the most, if that makes sense. So I'm picking on my backgrounds where I want to die cut specifically. Now, because I had that full sheet, I did use the largest Spellbinders platinum die cut machine. I do have the large one. I don't use it that often, but this was perfect. But if you didn't have this, just trim your cardstock down and then run it through your regular die cut machine. Now I have the other pieces to this large hummingbird, and I'm going to tape those in place of the colors that I want it to be, so it can be a contrast when I adhere them together. So we have his long, beautiful beak and part of his head. You have his belly. Now his belly does have two parts. I used the smallest part only. Then you have part of his face and his eye. And I do have to say, just the other day, I was walking outside. My husband and I were walking through our backyard and looking at all the things that were blooming. And we have hummingbirds every year. And I think we have one of the same ones most of the time because they're very territorial. And he zoomed by our head, and I was so excited to hear him because that was the first time that we knew that that hummingbird had been back. So, okay, so I'm using the green for the stems. Then you can see we've got these flowers here that I'm putting in place. So I want yellow and orange and taping those in place. Make sure your alcohol ink is nice and dry. I did use the hot setting on my blow dryer once everything was in place to get it nice and dry. Then we can start adhering our flowers together on our little stems. And we did not have to color all of these, but we got a different color than colored cardstock. And not that there's anything wrong with colored cardstock because it's absolutely gorgeous. But this is a different look, and it's colorful and it's fun. And I loved how these cards turned out. So I'm adding little dots of glue from my Barely Art liquid glue and then putting these flowers in place. And it really did go quite quick. And these are 5x7 images. I did forget to mention that at the beginning. So it is a large image, which is a lot of fun. I'm adding some foam sticky squares on the back. I did get these new from scrapbook.com, and I believe, I am not 100% for sure, but I'm about 99% sure that they have different size, and I think I had the smaller size. I'm adhering the flowers down because I want it to look like the hummingbird is flying up to the flowers. So they're going to all be on the right side, and I did trim off all the excess that was hanging off the edge. Okay, let's die cut for the other image. We've got our hummingbird pieces here. There's wings, there's the bodies. So I am again deliberately thinking of how I kind of want this to come together. I want them to be very colorful. So all the components I'm trying to get different color combinations from. These also have leaves and flowers that are going to go on the background as well. So I can use this yellow because there's not a lot of yellow. So when we die cut that whole background, it was mainly from that pinky orange kind of color. Using those same foam square dots behind the hummingbirds, so you can see exactly where all of these images need to be placed, which is really nice and easy. But I want these guys popped up with foam tape. The flowers, however, will be adhered directly to the background. Now there is a headpiece to these guys that I forgot to put on till last because they were mixed in and I was thinking they were flowers at first. But I will end up putting those on, and it makes a huge difference on their head because it kind of pops and gives them a nice look. Now I'm going to use a black glaze pen to color in their eyes because that big hummingbird was weirding me out with his blue eye. It was just creepy to me. So I decided to bring in a black glaze pen. It was just weird. He kept staring at me on my desk, and I was like, I can't live with that. I don't like how that looks. It just was so odd. Anyways, that's my weirdness. Okay, so I've got his head glued on there. I'm going to glue this onto the background, and then I'm going to get the rest of the flowers and leaves. And again, it's nicely laid out so you can just see where they go. This makes for an easy card making. Other than there's a lot of little pieces to die cut, but really is that big of a deal? I mean, that's what Spellbinders is known for. That's what we love them for. So it's very intricate, and you get all these beautiful images. So the flower buds are the orange alcohol ink, the Valencia. Then we have these larger flowers that are kind of that sunshine yellow, and the Limeade green is all of our leaves. And I'm adding just dots of glue. And I will say the liquid glue does take a little bit longer to dry on this kind of paper because it's kind of glossy. So it's, you know, it's kind of, and even though this is not the glossy side, it is a little bit glossy from the using the alcohol ink on it and all that. So it's going to take a second to dry. So be careful when you're putting your images down, touching the other images. They will slide for just a second. Now we're getting our big flowers put together, and look at how pretty this is. And I on purpose did the background not green because I wanted the green leaves to show, and that you just had this nice fun pop of color. So here's that black glaze pen adding the eyes, and you'll see it looks so much better. They don't look creepy. See, that's better. Okay, let's put our sentiment on. I'm going to stamp this directly on the background of this large hummingbird. This is from the Hummingbird Sentiments, and it says happy birthday to beautiful you, which I thought was a really fun, different birthday sentiment. So we're going to put that and tuck that right underneath the hummingbird. And I will attach this to a 5x7 card base. And then our other one, I'm going to stamp on a piece of white cardstock and trim out, and it says let your dreams take flight. Of course, that's a fun one as well. I am stamping all of these with the black ink. And then remember I talked about that little bonus card we're going to make really quick here in just a second once these two cards are finished. And I'm going to pop this one in place with some foam tape, again from scrapbook.com. And let's pop that one right there. Let's finish these two guys with my favorite Studio Katia. Oh my gosh, my brain, I forgot even what they're called. They're my favorite. They'll be linked for you guys below. This is Menopause Brain, and I apologize, you guys. I know sometimes my videos are wild because I'm like, I can't remember this and I can't remember that. I can't, but they will always be linked for you guys, listed and linked for you guys below in the description. Okay, here's this bonus card. I am using the stamp set, the Hummingbird Build a Scene stamp set, on a piece that I trimmed out that was left over from our alcohol ink, and we are using the alcohol lift ink from Tim Holtz. So we are making a little scene here by lifting the ink off, and in between each stamping I am cleaning it with a little bit of alcohol. Otherwise you're going to first contaminate your ink pad if you don't clean it off, and then you will not be able to lift the ink off the next step. So you have grass, these are some flowers, so this is like the stem part, and then you can add the floral part, which is this part here. And it takes a minute. Sometimes you have to stamp it a few times. I let the ink sit on it so it can kind of, I don't know if this is what it does, but it kind of almost dissolves away, wicks away the alcohol ink that's on your background. Then I'm stamping the hummingbird, and so we have this cute background. I'm going to pop it up with foam tape. So this is a perfect thing to do with your leftover pieces that you didn't really have anything else to do with. And then we have the stamp set that says do small things with great love. And then I'm going to add my gold, I think it's Gold Fever confetti. That might be what it's called from Studio Katia. Maybe that's it. Put a few of those in place, and then we are done. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching and listening to my craziness. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.